Hey, boys and girls, this is Raphael Esparza. That's Robert Ferringo. We're from DocSports.com. We're presenting to you. Let's talk about Saturday college hoops. That's right, Saturday, not the NFL divisional playoffs, not UFC 270, which UFC 270 is going to be really good. Two heavyweights. Someone's getting knocked out in that fight. But we're going to talk in college basketball, a full range of great games in college hoops. And like I said last week, I'm going to definitely say it this week. The odds makers are going to be watching divisional money come in. They're going to be watching UFC 270 money coming in. You could find some gems in college hoops on Saturday. We're going to talk about some college hoops right now because there's some key games. We're going to go to first game, Kentucky at Auburn. Who would have thought Auburn would be the number 2 team in the country? I didn't think they were going to be the number 2 team in the country. I thought maybe top 10. But wow, number 2. This is a 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, CBS. Ferringo, what do you think before we start college football on CBS? What do you think about this game?
I actually think Auburn should be the number 1 team in the country. I think they got
Boo!
snubbed with Gonzaga jumping back up there into that number 1 spot. And honestly, I think Auburn's going to use this game to make a little bit of a statement about that. They've won 13 straight games. And what's interesting about this matchup is that it's kind of a reversal of what we had seen in the past, right? Like Auburn is the team with the young freshman stud, Jabari Smith, and those young freshmen and sophomore, those young, talented young bucks. And Kentucky is this veteran team with these transfers coming in. It used to be the exact opposite. Like Kentucky used to be the team with all the blue chip talent, just rolling the ball out there and blowing people out. I think Auburn is too much in their home gym. I don't trust Bruce Pearl too terribly much, but I trust talent. And I trust the way that Auburn plays in their home gym in front of their home fans. That place is going to be packed. Kentucky is obviously still a big draw. And I just don't trust this Kentucky team. I think that Kentucky is going to be around a 4-point underdog in this game. And that's not going to be near enough points, I don't think. They lost at LSU. They lost at Notre Dame. And their only road win this year was at Vanderbilt. If you look, Kentucky hasn't played a very good schedule this year, and all their biggest games have been at home. They have not wanted to leave Rupp, and they haven't played very good when they've been outside of Rupp Arena. I just think the motivation is on Auburn's end. I think people are high on Kentucky over what they did, that ridiculous shooting performance that they had last week against Tennessee. That's still fresh in people's minds. So you might get some Kentucky money coming in, especially if they're posted as like a 3 or 4 point underdog. I don't think it's going to matter. I think Auburn absolutely runs them out of the gym.
Yeah, Big Blue Nation money will definitely come in. I'm very curious to see how high Auburn comes in on this number. You probably have it right. I'm very curious with the total. Both teams averaging a healthy 80 points a game. We mentioned it with Kentucky putting up 107 points against Tennessee. So this one could be a very high-scoring game in the early afternoons on Saturday. So I'm excited to watch this one. I know you hate Gonzaga. That's why you're busting their chops as the number 1 team.
I love Gonzaga.
But let's go. Well, why are you using a snub? Baylor at Oklahoma is going to be another fantastic game on Saturday. Here's a 3 p.m. ESPN Plus game. That's right, ESPN Plus. So I'm not going to tell you to sign up to Hulu and all that. But if you did, you can watch UFC 270. I'm just saying. But definitely it's going to be a fantastic game. Baylor on the road. Can we see a Baylor team that we saw on the road get a big W during the week? Can they do it again? Can the magic come back?
Got to address one thing before we talk a little Baylor, Oklahoma. I'll say this. Auburn plays Georgia Wednesday, and they play Kentucky on Saturday. If they win both of those games, they absolutely should jump Gonzaga and be the number 1 team in the country. Like you can only get so impressed about Gonzaga beating Pepperdine and Santa Clara by 30 points apiece. If Auburn hammers Kentucky, they 100% should be the number 1 team in the country. All right, Baylor at Oklahoma. You mentioned it. Baylor had that little 2-game hiccup there where they lost back-to-back games, including one of the games as a double-digit favorite. They're going on the road to face Oklahoma. They actually beat the Sooners by 10 points in the first meeting. And you had mentioned this in one of the other videos, that sometimes the best thing to do after a bad home loss is to go out on the road. Kind of galvanizes the team. Going into West Virginia, going into Morgantown like they did earlier this week and getting that win, that's a legit win. That is not an easy place to play, especially for a team that had been struggling a little bit. I think Baylor's going to be around a 5.5 point favorite in this game. I think Baylor's fine. They lost those two games, but the Big 12 is stacked from top to bottom. There are no easy games in the Big 12. So you're going to lose some games. That's going to happen. Even this Oklahoma team is a very good team that has some nice wins. However, they're starting to take on some water. They've lost 3 straight. They've lost 4 out of 5. They're making that adjustment from Lon Kruger, who had done such a fantastic job there for so many years, to Porter Moser, who's a great coach, but also has a very distinctive style to that team. I like Baylor. I think that they are very motivated right now after losing those back-to-back games. I still think that they're one of the 3 or 4 most talented teams in the country. If this number starts to creep up in that 6, 6.5, 7 range, I won't touch that. I'm not laying 7 points or 6.5 points on the road in the Big 12. But if Baylor's right in that 4.5, 5, 5.5, I think that's still in playable range. I may just end up watching this one, but I like Baylor to get another road win.
I agree. Of Oklahoma losing to Kansas during the week already, so it should be very interesting. I agree with you. If it's 4.5, 5, I would say no. I wouldn't even take 6, 6.5 if Baylor was on there. But Baylor, I said those wins on the road are going to help them throughout the rest of the season. I think losing early in college hoops is totally different than losing early in college football. So I think they'll be way okay. And they're just a better team, more athletic team in this spot. Let's go to Kansas Town, the Kings of Tornadoes, where you don't want to live during a tornado season. Kansas versus Kansas State. I really enjoyed watching Kansas play lately. That bounce back after that road loss to Texas Tech. Not sold on K-State. They're probably going to be home underdogs in this spot. I'm looking for the Jayhawks in this one. This one should be a fantastic 4 p.m. ESPN Plus game. Who do you like in this matchup?
Kansas is one of those teams, kind of like Villanova, that I usually just don't bet against them. I either like Kansas and I will bet on them, but I don't bet against them. However, I'm smelling a little bit of value here. Okay, I think Kansas is going to be about a 6.5 point favorite in this game. They obviously will be favored. But Kansas State is a team that I've jumped on a few times this year. This team is a little better than people realize. A little bit more experienced. One of the things people don't think about is, because he's been there a really long time, is Bruce Weber is kind of coaching for his job this year. I think that this might be the end of the road with him at Kansas State. They're 10-7 this year, so they really need to make a charge and at least kind of play themselves onto the NCAA tournament bubble. Maybe make a deep run in the NIT could save his job. But, this guy is on high alert all the time. 4 of Kansas State's last 5 losses have come by 3 points or less. So they're only 10-7 this year, but they've had a lot of close losses, close competitive losses against good teams. This team is a little better than people realize. And big rivalry game. They're at home. They're in the octagon. That place is going to be going absolutely nuts. I think if that number gets up over 6, Kansas State is definitely a play. If it starts to creep down where you got Kansas 4.5, 5, maybe you get that sharp Kansas State money comes in and pulls that number down. I don't like it as much, but if you're getting, 2 or 3 possessions, look at the home dog. It would not surprise me if Kansas State takes this one down to the wire. They just really need it.
Yeah, I agree with you, but all I can think back is that bad home loss with Texas. They didn't just lose, they just got blown out of the waters. I know it was 70, 50, I know it was almost 20 points and all that. I could be mistaken on that, but they just had no heart when they were just get blown away. And I think if Kansas puts a lead on them in the second half, we could see almost a repeat. But I agree with you. I agree with you on the number. If it creeps down, I'll take a shot at maybe Kansas, even though it's a rivalry game. But I agree. Bruce Pearl, his seat is hot right now. So I would definitely, he needs some big W's to get that hot seat off him. Let's stay in the Big 12 with TCU at Iowa State. Here's another 4 p.m. ESPNU game. Should be a fantastic matchup, but really, really enjoy watching Iowa State. Tough to go to the Cyclones and steal a home win. Iowa State is what I'm looking at in this game.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think this number is going to come out a little higher than people expect, given what TCU's record is. I have Iowa State as a 7-point favorite in this game, and that's going to bag in a lot of TCU money, I believe. They're coming out. The Horned Frogs are coming off a nice home win over Oklahoma. Oklahoma is not playing very well. That was an overtime win by 1 point, so it wasn't like a super impressive TCU win. But I like Iowa State. this team has been a big-time overachiever. They have the 2 transfer guards. Isaiah Brockton's been playing so well for them. They have a real tight rotation, so you kind of know what you're going to get from Iowa State. They only go about 7 deep. So that's why we've seen that kind of consistent run from them throughout the year. I like TCU. I like Mike Miles a lot. If you haven't seen him yet, he's a very, very good young point guard for the Horned Frogs. Jamie Dixon teams, they always rebound. They always play great defense. That always makes them a very appealing underdog. My problem that I have with TCU this year is they just haven't played anybody. They haven't played anybody. They haven't beaten anybody. This week is going to be very telling for them. They have to go to Oklahoma State. That's always a tough trip to go to Stillwater, and then turn around and go to Iowa State, a place where they have historically not played very well. I think this will be a good game, but I see Iowa State pulling away late in the last 8 minutes of this game. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think it'll be one of those games that maybe ends up as a 10 or 11 point Iowa State win, where it was, a 4-point game with 5 minutes left, something like that. But I like the Cyclones in that one. I also think TCU could get caught looking ahead. They have a huge home game against in-state rival Texas on Tuesday. So you got, that road trip to Oklahoma State before the weekend. You got that home game against Texas coming up on Tuesday. In between, you got that trip to Ames, Iowa. That might be a flat spot for TCU.
Couldn't agree more. Overlooking on that big game, especially at home on Tuesday. That's what I'm looking to play the Cyclones in this one if I can get the best number. Again, apologize if it is my paid play, but I have no idea. I'm not a futuristic guy, but that's one of the ones I have circled as a nice play.
I release free plays and rated plays, and I mix and match those all the time. Look, I'm going to give my clients the best plays. I'm never going to say, I use this for a free play in the newsletter 3 days ago. I'm not going to use it now. No. My clients get the best plays. I want to put everybody in the best position to win. So if some of these games I end up using as rated plays, I'm just trying to make everybody money.
Good point. Very good point. The late game. We're going to go to the late game. The last game we're going to talk about on Saturday. It's 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's on CBS Network, News Network, whatever. CBSSN. It's Mountain West. Yes, we're talking Mountain West basketball here. Boise State versus San Diego State. I'm sorry. This might be one of the game of the days that no one's going to talk about because it's in the Mountain West, and it's a horrible time. So I think we're watching NFL football, UFC. This one's going to be a fantastic matchup. Boise State have coming into this game, some big road wins already. I'm sorry. Game of the day for me on this game, Boise State, San Diego State.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. These are probably the 2 best teams in the Mountain West right now, especially with Utah State dealing with a lot of injuries the way that they have been. Problem for San Diego State, they haven't played in 2 weeks. And one of those fun COVID pauses that seem to be all the rage this college basketball season. So, but as we've talked about in some of these videos before, that COVID pause has kind of cut both ways. We've seen some teams come out after 2 or 3 weeks off. They pick right up where they left off. They're fine. They're playing great, actually. Some of the other teams that have had more extended breaks, you get into 4 weeks, 29 days in between games. We've seen some rust. So it could cut either way. I think San Diego State is going to be fine. 2-week break isn't that big. They are so fantastic at home in their home gym. Boise State, they've won 10 straight games. They're 13-4 right now. They have overachieved compared to some of the players that they lost. They didn't play well last season at all. And then they lost their best player. So my expectations were starting to come down for them. They've been fantastic so far this year. However, they have been taking on water. They didn't cover against New Mexico, didn't play particularly well, didn't even come close to covering at Air Force. I believe they were like a 14 or 15-point favorite, won by 6 points, I believe. So they're taking on some water. That's usually what you see happen with these teams that go on long winning streaks. When they start to not cover games against bad teams, that just means that ball is, that momentum is starting to slow down a little bit. And I think that they could hit a wall here against one of the best home teams in the country, not just in the Mountain West. I like San Diego State. I think they're going to be about a 5-point favorite in this game. And yeah, I think they can do some damage.
Yeah, if this one creeps up higher than 5, I'm looking at Boise. I know you said that they didn't cover against Air Force, but the style of play that Air play, It's hard to cover those big. Going to be probably one of the main reasons why I want to stick back. Maybe if I can get a better number. Right there.
Yep, nobody heard that. Nobody heard that. That's all right. They heard me. San Diego State. Forget about Boise State. The number is going to be 5. Take San Diego State. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make that my free play for Saturday. Is I like the Aztecs. I think some people are going to be hesitant on that team because they haven't played in those 2 weeks. Don't worry about that. They've been practicing. You know, they're going to be fine. And again, Boise State, they've had a lot of success on the road to this point against some of the weaker teams in the Mountain West. This is a whole nother animal that they're going to be fighting with. I don't think that they're big enough or strong enough on the interior to keep San Diego State from dominating the glass. The Aztecs are a fantastic perimeter defensive team. Again, I like everything about San Diego State in this game.
Should be interesting. Like I said, best game on the board for me. Let's throw out some free plays before my signal gets frozen again. My free play on Saturday, Santa Clara St. Mary's. If you like scoring, don't watch this game because I think it's going to go dead under. If it's going to be anywhere between 135 or around that number, 132, 133, 134, around that number, bet it under. There's not going to be that much scoring here. It's hard to hit 70 points at the Gales home court. They play stifling defense. They love to press at home. Again, if you can get that a good number, 135 or higher, bet the under because the Gales just play too tough of defense at home.
All right, yeah.
Ferringo, what is your free play?
My free play was San Diego State. Love that minus 5.5. You want a second free play? You take Auburn. Like I said, I think they're going to kill Kentucky. I think they're going to absolutely maim them. And, you know, that's one of those games I can see them being up 16, and then all of a sudden it's a 3-point game. They're going to end up winning by 8 or 10 points. They're just a better team.
Should be a fantastic week and weekend, like I said, in college hoops. But don't forget to click on that link either above us or down below us for that free $60 account. You can check out my college hoop plays. You can check out Ferringo's, as he said earlier in the week, his garbage college basketball plays, but I don't think they're garbage. I think you can jump on him and cash great tickets. I guess he had a great NFL weekend. Now, if you want garbage, check out my NFL card for next week, and that's some trash. But don't forget to check out all the Doc's Handicappers. You can check us out on the YouTube for some fantastic free plays from Scott Spreitzer, Tony George, August, myself, Strike Point Sports. Check out the Doc's YouTube page. Get those free play videos. There's a whole bunch of them get downloaded daily. I'm Raphael Esparza. That's Robert Ferringo. Have a fantastic week. Have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe. And what I like to say, please, please, please don't bet what you don't have.